Long, long ago, when the legendary Tutankhamun passed into the afterlife, he left the throne empty, the empire in crisis, and the officials wondering, now what? Amid this chaos, three key figures emerged, shaping the end of an era and the beginning of another. Horemheb, and the first pharaoh of a rather unlucky dynasty. This is the story of how a single break in a pharaonic line was enough to give rise to the divine dynasty of the Ramesses. It was 1323 BC. Tutankhamun died at just 18 or 19 years old. The causes are still debated: illness, accident, or something disguised as an accident. But something is clear: having no children, he left a power vacuum. His wife, Akhenaten, found herself in an extremely delicate position. Without an heir, the country urgently needed someone to take the reins. She asked the emperor of the Hatti, Chupiluluma I, to send one of his sons to marry her, young Sanansa, dared to travel to Egypt, cause honestly, you can't blame a young man for wanting to meet an Egyptian queen, only to be assassinated on the way, and thus enter I, the elderly vizier, who essentially said,
"Don't worry, I'll handle this. I've served more than one pharaoh, and I know the ways. Give me the crown, and in return, I'll give you back the order."
I became pharaoh and unarguably one of the strangest rulers of Egypt, part of the royal family, and formerly a long-serving advisor to Tutankhamun. He was known for his cunning and political skill, but also his ambition. When the young pharaoh died without an heir, I didn't hesitate to take control. His rise was swift and, to many, suspicious. Whispers filled the palace corridors, priests raised their eyebrows, and scribes argued over whether his name should be written with reverence or not. His coronation was understandably shocking to Egypt, since the land had recently seen young and flamboyant pharaohs, but suddenly an older man with wrinkles and a calculating gaze arrived, making decisions as if the country were a freaking chessboard. And if his suspicious rise wasn't enough, I married Tutankhamun's widow. This might seem tolerable until you realize that this woman was his granddaughter. The Sea Peoples did nothing wrong. It may have been a strategic move to consolidate his legitimacy, or just to appear less suspicious. Though never proven guilty, the combination of his rapid rise and marriage to the young queen fueled gossip about the passing of King Tut and Sanansa, making this old man into a figure admired for his mind, yet viewed by many as vile. Despite the controversy, I ruled effectively. He restored temples, returned power to traditional priesthood, and stabilized an Egypt still recovering from Akhenaten's religious reforms. His reign was brief, only 4 years, but still very productive, almost like Egypt had a dictator in the same fashion as Julius Caesar, but it was enough to leave a lasting mark. In politics, experience and intelligence could outweigh youth and royal blood. His name continues to evoke admiration, hatred, and a hint of intrigue that even the most serious scribes raised an eyebrow at the sound of it. After having a walking mummy as a king, I died in 1319 BC, and Horemheb took power, a charismatic and ambitious general who had long accumulated prestige. In comparison to I, he seemed to have had more respect and trust from Tutankhamun, serving as his right-hand man, apparently responsible for helping him to stand up and sit down. He was not of royal blood, but he had something better: control of the army. And in politics, when you control the weapons, you have it a lot easier. Horemheb initiated what could be called a total restoration. His goal was to erase the stain of Amarna, rebuild the empire's greatness, and ensure that everyone remembered his name. But he was not alone. Scribes and military officials supported his efforts. In the palace, Horemheb, Yatu, and Benu do a little bit of planning. I want the temples to come back to life. Every single god shall be praised. Yatu, start carving decrees.
Yes, Majesty, but could you repeat all the gods' names? Because there are like 100.
Why not just carve all the gods? Bennu, shut up. Yatu, carve. Horemheb established the temples, appointed their offerings, and restored the gods to their places, making their shrines as they were in the beginning.
Yes, Your Majesty. Now this is easy work.
With a firm hand, Horemheb reorganized the administration, punished followers of Athenism, and strengthened the army. He even led military campaigns in Syria and Nubia, proving that Egypt could still conquer like in its golden age. But Horemheb knew that one day he would die without an heir, and needed someone trustworthy to continue his work. Enter the man whose name will change history, Ramesses, but he will later be known by another name. When Horemheb died around 1295 BC, he left the throne to his trusted vizier, Ramesses, who was not of royal blood, so for the first time in centuries, a new dynasty was starting. Number 19. His origins were humble. He was from Avaris in the eastern delta, likely a descendant from foreigners such as Canaanites and the Hyksos, being raised closer to barracks than temples. From a young age, he excelled in the army, not as a charismatic conqueror like Thutmose III, but as a disciplined soldier who could hold the line when others faltered. Physically strong and robust, he knew how it felt to wear an armor under a merciless sun, stay awake and vigilant all night in camp, and wade through water and mud. He had been there, done that. Egypt needed exactly this. After religious turmoil and incompetent rulers, a leader who guaranteed stability and safeguarded the restoration of order, a reliable brother in arms without ideological or religious delusions. The records show his military talent in logistics and organization, moving troops, fortifying borders, and keeping the Nubians and Middle Eastern neighbors under control. No spectacular campaigns are recorded due to his brief reign, but it was enough to cement a dynasty that would transform Egypt into a renewed military power. Ramesses I was a practical general rather than an epic hero, a veteran who ensured continuity and paved the way for his son to unleash Egypt's full potential for violence. In the palace, Ramesses I addresses Yatu and Bennu. Well, I have been pharaoh for a year and a half. Marching to battle was more entertaining than this. It's time to hand everything over to Seti. Your Majesty, how can you say that? You've barely sat on the throne.
Well, Bennu, at his age, I also got tired of writing so many long hieroglyphs.
Exactly. Wait, how long have you two been here? Did you not work with the heretic 50 years ago?
Yes, sir. Why?
How do you stay so young?
You know, the usual. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every day. Though sometimes I'm too lazy to be under the sun for so long.
Yatu, Bennu, let us retire with dignity and a good lot of wine. Yatu, this dynasty is going to be something else.
He's already my favorite pharaoh.
Then came Seti I, one of Egypt's most remarkable pharaohs. His name meant of Set, yes, just like that, therefore associated with the Egyptian god of strength and war, and he lived up to it. He ruled with energy, restoring lost territories and reclaiming Egypt's respect abroad. He launched major campaigns in Syria and the Levant, confronting the Hittites, who dared to challenge the Egyptian empire. His Karnak reliefs depict his military victories in epic detail, Horses, chariots, fleeing enemies, arrows, all carved in stone, almost like an ancient version of a comic book. But like many other pharaohs, he was not just a warrior, he was also a builder. Seti erected majestic temples, like his Temple of Abydos, dedicated to the god Osiris, with reliefs still considered among the finest in ancient Egyptian art. As Seti expanded borders and raised temples, daily life changed. Temples filled with priests again. Artisans found steady work carving, painting, and raising obelisks, and soldiers were happy to return to campaigns, since nothing pleased an Egyptian warrior more than having a share of the spoils. In Canaan, Yatu and Benu watch over the young prince. Look, Yatu, another victory for Egypt. Seti is a beast.
Oh, poor scribes. Every time they start working, we win another battle. Oh, retirement feels so good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll continue writing my epic.
Let me fight already.
Calm down, Ramesses. It's not your turn yet. You'll get your campaigns against the Hittites. And trust me, you'll have plenty.
This is my last chance this year. I've trained for this all my life.
Training is never enough. Now go beat the hell out of your curly-haired brother.
Seti I died in 1279 BC, leaving a glorious tomb featuring the famous relief of how Egyptians represented other cultures under their influence. A Libyan of light skin, a Nubian with dark skin, Asian, although this means Middle Eastern, and an Egyptian in a reddish brown tone. Though his reign was not the longest, Seti's legacy was crucial. He consolidated power, restored Egypt's international prestige, and left temples that still astound us today. He also prepared the path for his son to inherit a prosperous empire. From Tutankhamun's death to Seti I, Egypt went through a transitional period. Between brief pharaohs, generals turned kings, and wars against the Hittites, the country regained stability, setting the perfect path for a new king to march stronger and faster than ever. This pharaoh will be Egypt's ultimate gigashad, Ramesses II or Ramesses the Great. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts, subscribe for more videos like this, and it has been a pleasure, as always. Ciao!